there's three sides to each story. There's what I say happened, there's what she say happened, and then there's the truth, which is somewhere in between. In this case, the truth is more closer to what I said happened. But it ain't always like that.
I'd rather keep it real with ya.
Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm wearing the same shirt, but I got a tank top on underneath, so it still don't be looking right on my boobs, though. But that's not the point. You ain't come here to see my boobs. You came here to hear the story. This week, I wanted to talk about, it's a little bit of a two-parter. It's why I can't have roommates, and it's also why I can't have friends, part two. So part two will be each of those videos. I'm going to talk about, let's call her Brittany. She's another white girl. I'm going to get the black people in a minute, but I'm going to talk about the white girl right now. And this is going to be a long one. I might cut it into two parts, but buckle up, because this shit is, it's too much. It's too much. I might look a little bit a mess. Like, I honestly, if I could run from the video, I would, but I can't, so I'm going to do it. So let me talk about Brittany. So I knew Brittany in college. Brittany, for reference, is under 5 foot, so she's probably like 4'11", 4'10", blonde hair, super soft voice, very innocent, kind of like if I'm a pit bull, she's a poodle, you know? We're very, very different people. I can't exactly remember how I met Brittany, but my thing with Brittany was I had this big issue for myself in college where I was a Captain Save-A-Hoe type of person. I was a protector, I was a savior. I was the person who, when I go to the parties, the frat houses, and I see something I don't like, or some girl is getting harassed by some guy, I always step in and I'm like, you know, put me in between them. Because I don't care how big these white dudes were. Like, they're football players, 6 foot, I don't give a fuck. They were still scared of me. So at the end of the day, melanin trumps height. You know, they were scared of this black chick who's looking like she's about to knock them out. So I was always jumping in to defend, you know, white girls, black girls, Asian girls, anybody who was being harassed, I was jumping in to defend them and protect them. So I kind of had a similar relationship with Brittany, where she's this super short girl and she'd be at parties and she'd be drunk and guys would be trying to take advantage of her. And I would kind of like swoop in and like save her and all that stuff, which now that I am more mentally healthy is not a right way to start a relationship with somebody, because it really set us off on the wrong foot. So something that I learned about Brittany was that she was doing this on purpose. She was getting drunk on purpose to have sex with guys at these frat parties. And I didn't know that at first. So I was trying to stop her from being sexually assaulted, because if you're drunk, you can't consent. But she was getting drunk specifically because if she wasn't drunk, she wouldn't consent. So she was getting drunk to make herself consent to these situations. So I would have situations where she would get drunk at these frat parties and she would straight up disappear. And I would be running around trying to find her. I'd call the campus safety officers to try to help me find her. I was showing people pictures of her. I was talking to frat dudes like, have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl? Have you seen this girl? Only to find out later that she went off to some dude's dorm room and had sex while she was drunk. And it put me in a really weird situation, because on one hand, I was the protector. I'm supposed to save you. I'm supposed to stop you from being assaulted. On the other hand, you want to be in these situations. So it was really, really tough. And that was just one thing. Another thing was that me being her protector, we got really, really close, but not in a good way. She was very, very clingy. It was kind of like, we need to go everywhere together. You know, oh, you're going to brunch, I'm going to brunch too. Why can't we go everywhere together? You're going to get lunch, I'm going to get lunch too. You know, she kind of always wanted to be around me, which at the time didn't seem like much of a problem. Because I like people being around me. That's fine. I don't care. You know, I mean, like, yeah, I'm an introvert, but I still have friends. It wasn't a problem. It didn't seem like a problem at first. But we were constantly in this dynamic of like me saving her, me protecting her. If anybody was mean to her, you know, I was ready to, you know, be aggressive and defend her, you know, because again, she's this short little white girl with a very soft voice. So I'm thinking like, I have to protect her. People are going to want to take advantage of her. And she fed into that. She was like, I need to be protected because I'm innocent and I'm small. And, you know, I need a protector in my life. So this is what you're here for. So that was the way that the relationship started off. And it should not have started off that way, honestly. But then, and this is after, you know, the whole shit that went down with the previous roommates. So she was like, it was time to choose, you know, where we were going to live. And she was like, we should live together. And I guess I was like, in my mind, I was like, I didn't really feel comfortable with it. I think at that point, something inside of me, like intuition or something, was kind of like, maybe living with her won't be a good idea because she's already so clingy, and she engages in these toxic behaviors where she gets drunk and has sex with these guys, and she sets herself up for issues. And she had been sexually assaulted already at that point. And so it was already kind of like this whole sexual assault was so rampant in campuses because of like fraternities and drinking and hookup culture. And so that was an added thing of like, part of me probably thought that if we were living together, the chances of some guy like coming to her dorm room or following her to the dorm room to assault her would be lower because I would be there. I would always be in my room. That's where I like to be. So I ended up living with her, knowing that I didn't really have the best of roommate experiences, but thinking this time I know her. I know the person I'm going to be living with, so it's going to be good. So we move in together. Then this was a nice apartment. It was basically like a studio, but these apartments were a lot newer than the apartments on campus. So they had the little stainless steel appliances and shit. You know, they had the nice couches, but it was like a studio. So it was one big room with the kitchen, the couch, the TV, the beds, all of that stuff. And then you had the shared bathroom. So one of the things that I did not realize when living in the dorm room was that white women shed their hair a lot. And I didn't realize at the time. At the time, I think I don't know if I had perms or braids or what I was doing with my hair at the time. But I wasn't shedding as much as I did when I was like actively brushing my hair every day. So I think I might have had braids or something. But she shed a lot. And when you have blonde hair, sometimes it can kind of like be hard to see. She had long blonde hair, and so it was literally everywhere. It was on the couches, it was on my bed, it was in the shower, it was on the toilet, it was in the sink. There would be times when I would go sit on the toilet and I'd get up and there'd be a long strand of blonde hair just in my butt crack, and I'd be very upset about it. There was always hair in the shower because, you know, white people wash their hair in the shower every night. So there was always hair in the shower. There would be hair on my feet. There would be hair on my arms because they'd be on the shower curtain. There was hair everywhere. And I would talk to her about it, and she didn't seem to care at all about the fact that there was hair everywhere. I think she thought I was being extra. And I think the thing was, I didn't have this problem with the people I lived with before because because it was a shared bathroom, they would have someone come in every now and then and clean it. But with this apartment, it was our responsibility to clean it. I was pretty much the only one who was doing the cleaning, but I wanted her to at least, you know, like how some people put like a little stopper in the shower or something to catch the hair that comes down, or like, you know, or maybe like wipe down the countertops every now and then to get the hair. At that point, I should have just had a lint roller and just been going because it was fucking hair everywhere. And there'd be hair in my hair, there'd be blonde hair in my hair, on my pillow, you know, in my clothes. I don't even know how that worked because my clothes were in a dresser that was separate from hers, but there was just hair everywhere. So that became one of our big issues, is that she thought that I was being extra by complaining about the fact that there was blonde hair literally everywhere. Sometimes it got in my mouth. I don't even know how that happened, you know, but sometimes it would get in my mouth and I'd be very upset about it. So that was one of the first things that we were thought about. And then another thing was the kind of boundaries around space. So again, with the previous living arrangement, it was kind of like I had my own little space. It wasn't completely cut off, but it was still a little bit separate. But this was just one big room. So if she had people over, then we're just here. We're all just here, you know, in this one big room. So if I'm on my bed and they're doing something on the couch, I'm just right there. So that was a kind of issue with when thinking about the space too. Like if she had somebody over, there was just no privacy to be expected of anything unless you were in the bathroom with your door locked. And we still had the same problems of her going to these parties and getting drunk and sneaking off with guys. And I had to kind of just let it go at one point. Like I literally talked to one of her other friends and they were like, you're just gonna have to let it go. Like she's gonna act like this regardless of what you do. And so I had let it go. And then at one point, And I would have these points where like she would try to go everywhere with me and I wouldn't want to, or it'd be late at night and she'd be like, I really want to get some donuts, you know, and she want to go to this donut place that was like, I think about like 15, 20 minutes away. And I just didn't want to do it because she didn't have a car at the time. So she wanted me to drive her because she was like, it's late night. I want donuts. Take me to get donuts. I didn't want to do it. I was like, well, no, I want to go to bed. I don't know if at this point I had stopped sleeping 12 hours or not, but regardless, I still need to go to bed at a certain time. So she'd be like up at night, like, I want to go get donuts, take me to go get donuts. And I'd be like, no, I don't want to drive you to get donuts. I don't even like donuts like that. You know, the only donut, it's only one place where I like their donuts, and I eat that one donut a year or every 2 to 3 years. Like, I don't eat donuts like that, but she was really into the donuts. That was very annoying to me. And then one time she was like, well, if I ask you to take me to get donuts, it's because I'm sad and I need donuts to make me feel better. Kind of like to say, like, if I ask you to take me to get donuts, take me to get donuts because I'm sad. And it made me feel bad because I was like, man, it made me feel bad. At the same time, I don't want to drive at night to get donuts. It just seemed like a stupid request for me. Like, order some donuts online. I don't know, man. Have some donuts on deck for when you feel sad. But I kind of felt like a bad friend because I was like, man, now I got to, you know, take her to get donuts or Taco Bell or whatever it is that she wanted to eat at that time because she's feeling sad at the middle of the night. And then there was issues with her wanting to go everywhere with me, and like anytime it was like lunchtime or dinner time or whatever, if I was available, it was like, and then she knew I was available because we lived together. So if I was available, she wanted us to go together. And there'd be times that we'd be going somewhere and we'd be like, okay, we're in the school cafeteria and we want to go, I want to go sit in this area. She'll grab me and say, we can't go there. And I'd be like, why can't we go over there? And she's like, because I slept with the dude in there. And I was like, so who cares? I want to sit at that table. She's like, we can't go in that room because I slept with a dude in that room. And then I'd be like, okay, well, let's go over to this room. We can't go over there. I slept with a dude over there. And I was like, well, you done slept with fucking everybody. What are we going to do? Where are we going to eat? And why would you sleep with somebody and then be scared you're going to see them again? There's 2,000 people at our school. You going to see people that you slept with. It's just going to happen. You got to be an adult about this. Why are you being a child? Why are you being like, oh my God, I can't go over there because I slept with him. Like, oh my God. And I'd be like, bitch, no, come on now. Like, don't be a child about this. Like, let's just go eat. And we couldn't sit anywhere because there would always be some guy in the dining hall that she had slept with before and she didn't want him to see her. You know, or she'll be like, I slept with him, but he has a girlfriend, and I don't want his girlfriend to see me. And I'm like, does the girlfriend even know that he cheated? Like, I feel like that's a problem. But it's also a problem that you knew he had a girlfriend, and you came on to him anyway to sleep with him. I was like, you know what? All of that's a mess. I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to stay out of it. I mean, me new today would stay out of it. But me new at the time was like, I should probably tell his girlfriend that he cheated. You know, like, I was in that shit. Like, I was down for the drama because I didn't really like that he had sex with somebody else who was in a relationship. They was doing too much of that in my college anyway. But it was just like, we couldn't do anything or go anywhere because, oh, I slept with a guy that's in that room in that general vicinity. Or, oh, we walking in one direction. It's, oh, I slept with that guy. I got to go somewhere else. It was always getting on my nerves. And then she started doing porn. And it didn't mean anything to me. Like, I didn't care. I'm like, hey, make your money, sis. If that's what you want to do, you know, make your money. It didn't matter to me. But then it became this whole thing about, like, the people she had slept with or the people at the school knew she was doing porn. And they knew her. She had a different name online. But they knew her name online. They knew how to find her videos and all of that. So people had been watching it and they knew that that's what she did. And I told her, I was like, sis, if that's what you do, that's what you do. Like, you making your money, you happy with the job. It doesn't matter what other people think about you because this is something you chose to do for yourself. So you shouldn't let people shame you out of, like, you're not going to stop doing it, but you shouldn't let people shame you about not being in school or something because you feel like, oh, everybody knows that I do porn. Maybe I should drop out. Like, no, you're going to do what you want to do. You're grown. And I would have to tell her that all the time because, of course, the frat dudes and shit be watching porn and they found your videos. Like, fine. And then there would be dudes who would be lining up to have sex with her because she makes the videos. And I'd be like, fine. That's completely fine with me. I did not care. It did not bother me at all that she was doing that. In fact, I was proud of her because I was like, this is you know, you needed the money. You're doing the job that you like and it's paying you very well. And you enjoy having sex. I think this is a great thing. And you are, you know, you're staying clean, you're using protection, you're getting tested. I thought everything about it was great. I thought it was fine. I have no problem with sex workers of any kind as long as they choose to do it. But then she started telling me that the reason she was doing it was because it was helping her. It was supposed to be therapy for the fact that she had been sexually assaulted. That's when I got kind of upset. That's when I felt it was kind of weird that this is what was happening. Because I was like, I don't know. I'm not a therapist, but I just think that if you've been sexually assaulted, making videos where you play out sexual assault in addition to regular porn videos, I feel like it would kind of re-traumatize you. I don't know. But she would make those videos. Like, at this point, it sounds like a Law and Order sketch, right? Like, you make the videos and you're in college and the people see you make the videos. But she would make these videos where she'd be sexually assaulted in the videos. And I'm like, that just sounds like a bad idea. I think you should just make regular videos. Or she would talk about how upset she was that she had to have sex with so many people at her job. And then I'd be like, oh, if you don't like it, quit. Like, walk away. You should never be upset or uncomfortable that you're doing, you know, a job, especially when you're in a situation where your parents paying for all this stuff and you're good. You're just making extra money. But she would put herself in that position where she would, like, take on all these jobs where she has to have so much sex, and then she'd be upset that she did have so much sex with people. And it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, I was like, why are you doing this to yourself? You chose the job. If you don't want the job, just quit the job. You don't need to do this. You know, it just made no sense to me whatsoever. But it would make sense once we talk about some other things. Then I so bad want to be like the unexpected happened. It wasn't. The completely expected thing happens where she is sexually assaulted once more. And she is sexually assaulted by this guy who, I guess he knew about her videos. She got drunk. She's decided that she was gonna, I think she had decided that she was gonna have sex with him, or she got drunk in order to have sex with somebody, and then it happened to be him. And so she went back to his dorm where there were, other people there. They drank, they smoked. I think the argument was that he might have drugged her or that she might have been too drunk. But then she ends up being assaulted. And she doesn't text me. She texts like her other friends to kind of let them know what happened. And then later on she comes home and I find out what happened. And I'm like, okay, we got to report this. Because my thing is, like, if you're so drunk that you can barely know what's going on and someone has sex with you, that's rape. That's how I feel. You know, even if you got drunk with the intention of having sex with somebody, I still feel like it's rape because you are barely moving and they're still doing what they want to do. But at that point, she had decided that, you know, but not decided. That sounds awful. But I think that there was some miscommunication about what types of things that she wanted to do, and he did that anyway. And she had reached out to her other friends, and I was like, you got to report this. You got to report this. And, you know, she reported it to the school. And there's been a big issue with my school and about a lot of colleges mishandling sexual assault cases. So they mishandled her assault case as well. But I think one of the things the guy said was, like, he had seen her videos and he wanted to know how he compared and all of that stuff. And he kind of, like, used that as a justification for why he assaulted her. But it didn't make any sense to me. But then now I'm thinking about it, sounds exactly like a Law and Order special victims unit type shit. But they didn't. But the whole thing was like they didn't call the police. They tried to report it through campus instead of the police, because that's how the school wanted it to be handled. Because obviously, if you get the police coming up there all the time about sexual assaults, the school is going to get a reputation. So that was mishandling it, and I don't think anything came of it other than more trauma. But she was really sad about it, and I was very upset about it too, because I felt like, you know, an injustice had been done, and I wanted to make sure she felt as comfortable as possible, and I wanted to do everything to make her feel good and happy, because I didn't want her to feel like alone in this. You know, I wanted to support her. It was very commonplace that people were being assaulted on campus, and I was just upset about the whole thing with her. So we went through that part. We went through her being sad. We went through her crying, me talking to her and talking about how, you know, brave it was of her to, like, stand up and, like, you know, fight for herself and advocate for herself and not to let them bully her and say, oh, what are you wearing? Or, oh, you went there with him, so you should da-da-da-da-da. I was, you know, there to defend her any way I could. without me directly getting involved with it. So it did happen, and I'm not gonna lie and say that she didn't have traumas, you know, that affected her and things that made her, upset. She had real reasons to be upset about things, but I also struggled with the fact that even though those things happened, she still was doing the thing where she would get drunk in order to have sex with guys. And I'd be like, why are you getting drunk to have sex with these guys? Because you're setting yourself up for assault. And she would say, well, if I don't get drunk, I'm not going to be able to have sex with them. And I'm like, well, then that's to tell you that you don't want to have sex with them. She's like, no, I do want to have sex with them. I just have to be drunk first. And it was a huge struggle between the both of us about that, because when you're a protector of someone, you have these bad habits where you say, is there something you need? Ma'am. Sadie, do you need something? Sadie, I need you to go somewhere now if you don't need nothing. Is this, Sadie, you want to go to sleep? You look tired. Baby. Say, I need you to get down. Come on, baby, down. Anyway, when you are someone's protector, you kind of... Sadie, I can't let you just sit there. Baby. Yeah, I know. I get kisses too, but you gotta keep going. Move. When you are someone's protector, you end up slipping a little bit into this parent role, this controlling role, you know, I am your protector because you can't protect yourself, which also means you can't make your own decisions because you're going to hurt yourself. So I slipped into, I'm not going to lie and say I did everything right. I did a lot of things wrong. I slipped into this kind of controlling mode where I was like, no, you don't need to do this. No, you don't need to do that. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. You need to just do this, you know, because I just didn't want her to get hurt again. I didn't want her to be sexually assaulted again. You know, I wanted her to be happy. I wanted her to do the things that she wanted to do, but she was putting herself in these situations where she would be victimized, and I didn't want her to be victimized. And so part of me protecting her also meant me trying to stop her from doing things that she wanted to do because they were hurting her. So it became very draining mentally to constantly try and tell someone not to basically victimize themselves and then watch them do it over and over and over again. And then also dealing with the clinginess and the guilt tripping. Like anytime I would fight with her about anything, you know, like let's just say I was like, hey, you leaving a lot of hair in the sink. It done got in my hair. Some hair done got on my food. Could you please like clean up the bathroom, which was a big thing for us. And it'd be like, don't you see I'm sad and crying about my assault? You know, it would be something like that. And it would always be guilt tripping me to be like, give me what I want because I'm sad. Like you should be the one to clean the apartment, not me, because I'm sad and I've been through all of this stuff. You know, and it was hard for me. It got to a point where I started not feeling as bad for her because I was like, every time I ask you to do something or every time we have any type of conflict, she would say, didn't you hear me crying last night where I was sad and stuff like that? Sometimes she wouldn't even say what she was sad about. She would just be like, I was sad, or I'm sad, and you're like making me more upset because I'm sad. And it was just like, it started to become like a way for her to get out of things. So it'd be like anytime I asked her to do something or I asked her to respect a boundary, or like maybe I wanted to go somewhere without her for once, she'd be like talking about how sad she was and about her assault and how bad she felt all the time. And then I was abandoning her by going out with my friends without her. Or she would do something I didn't like and I told her I didn't like that. And then she'd talk about like, why are you being so mean to me when you know that I'd be sad and I'm crying and all of that stuff. And so I got to a point and I was seeing a therapist. She wasn't. I was seeing a therapist at this time, and I was like, am I being manipulated? Like, am I being emotionally manipulated? Because on one hand, it's hard because she has been victimized. She has had these problems where people have hurt her. But on the other hand, it seems like she's kind of using it against me to get what she wants. And my therapist kind of agreed, because my therapist was helping me try to set these boundaries, and her responses to the boundaries would always be like, I'm sad, I've been victimized, I've been hurt, you know, these people are doing these things to me, you know, I've been assaulted, like all of that stuff. And like she would always bring these things up about how basically I need to give her what she wants. You know, you need to drive me to the donut shop to get donuts because I'm sad. You need to take me everywhere you go because I'm sad. You know, take me here, take me there. You know, come to the party with me, but I'm going to leave you randomly to have sex with some guy, and I'm going to disappear for the rest of the night and have you stressing and worrying if I'm being assaulted or not, because that's what I want to do and you can't control me. But also now I've been assaulted and I'm sad and you need to do what I want. So I started getting in this phase where I was just really confused and frustrated all the time. I didn't know what was going on. Looking back, I know that I was being emotionally manipulated by somebody who was actually a victim, but was also into victimizing themselves so that they can be the victim in most situations. And everything that I ever did when it came to her was about protecting her, was about keeping her safe, trying to educate her, make sure she's doing everything right, make sure she's getting tested regularly, making sure she's using protection when she's having sex with these guys, or using protection when she's working her job, you know, letting her know if you ever get in a situation where you're uncomfortable with your job, you can quit, you know, I support you. Like, I was always trying to do all of that, and I was doing a lot of the emotional labor in the relationship, because there was no way I could ever lean on her for anything, because she was just a wreck emotionally all the time, and it was very, very stressful. And it had got to a point where I was really, really stressed out and upset, and I was talking to my therapist about, I don't think I can do this. Like, it's one thing to have a toxic friend, it's another thing to be living with that person to where you cannot escape from them. We don't have separate rooms. It's a studio. We are right here all the time. You know, if she want to talk to me in the middle of the night, she can do that. She just literally just start talking, and now I have to listen because I'm here. There was no separation from us. We were together all the time, and it was just really, really stressful. And anytime I tried to talk to her and I tried to stand up for myself and say, like, look, we need to have some boundaries in our roommate relationship or in our friendship, she would always just tell me about how sad she was because she had been victimized and she had been hurt and she had been done wrong by all these people and she had been assaulted and all of that stuff. So it never went anywhere. So eventually what happened was I had to cut the relationship off. And I wrote out a list. I wrote out like a letter with my therapist because I was like, talking to her is not working. So my therapist said, let's write a letter. And writing this letter is when shit really hit the fan.